Stories of financial celebrities who rose from rags to riches captivate us not merely because of the wealth they eventually amassed, but because of the improbable journeys that carried them from obscurity, poverty, or rejection to global influence. These stories represent something primal in human imagination, the belief that circumstance is not destiny, that a spark of ambition, resilience, and timing can rewrite one's trajectory, and that financial success, when viewed up close, is rarely a straight line, but a turbulent climb filled with moments of doubt, reinvention, and decisive courage. The world's most iconic financial heroes, entrepreneurs, investors, entertainers, turned moguls, immigrants who built empires, share a common thread. They began with far less than they achieved, but they cultivated mindsets, habits, and strategic instincts that allowed them to transcend limitations. To trace their journeys is to understand not just how fortunes are built, but how character is forged in adversity, how opportunity emerges from persistence, and how the arc of a human life can bend dramatically upward through a series of choices that compound over time. Take Oprah Winfrey, whose ascent from severe childhood poverty, trauma, and systemic discrimination to becoming the first Black female billionaire exemplifies the transformative power of personal agency. Oprah's fortune was not built by chasing money directly, but by mastering authenticity, turning vulnerability into connection, turning communication into influence, and turning influence into ownership. When she shifted from host to producer of her own show, she rewrote the economics of television by claiming equity rather than accepting salary. Her life demonstrates that financial breakthroughs often arise when individuals shift from being participants in systems to architects of them. Another remarkable journey is that of Howard Schultz, who grew up in a Brooklyn housing project, witnessing firsthand the fragility of financial insecurity. His parents could not afford medical care after his father suffered a workplace injury, an experience that shaped his lifelong interest in creating dignity through work. Schultz's leap from his modest beginnings to building Starbucks into a global empire illustrates how vision, combined with empathy, can generate enormous value. He didn't invent coffee. He reimagined the ritual around it. He didn't inherit privilege. He created access to health care for employees, to stock options for baristas, to a new kind of consumer experience. His rise reflects a profound truth. Entrepreneurship is often fueled not by opportunity alone, but by the emotional memory of hardship. Even more dramatic is the story of J.K. Rowling, who wrote Harry Potter while living on government assistance, battling depression, and facing rejection from multiple publishers. Her transformation from broke single mother to literary billionaire reinforces the principle that wealth sometimes emerges not from financial strategy but from creative courage, the willingness to create something the world does not yet recognize as valuable. Rowling's journey reminds us that financial celebrity can be built upon intangible assets: imagination, resilience, and the discipline to continue writing even when no one is listening. Then there are the tech titans, whose stories began far outside Silicon Valley glamour. Jan Koum, co-founder of WhatsApp, immigrated from Ukraine, relied on food stamps as a boy, and cleaned floors in a grocery store to help his family survive. Years later, he built one of the world's most widely used communication platforms, eventually selling WhatsApp to Facebook for nearly $20 billion. His background, shaped by life under surveillance in the Soviet Union, inspired his obsession with privacy, a value that became central to WhatsApp's identity. Koum's rise exemplifies how personal history can shape product philosophy and how economic transformation is often rooted in early adversity that sharpens perspective rather than dulls ambition. Similarly, Rihanna's rise from a troubled home environment in Barbados to becoming a global music icon and billionaire beauty mogul illustrates the power of reinvention. Her Fenty brand disrupted the cosmetics industry by challenging long-standing norms around inclusivity. What made her financial ascent exceptional was not merely celebrity leverage, but business intuition, identifying underserved markets, partnering strategically, and building a brand around cultural authenticity. Her story reveals that in the modern world, wealth often flows to those who understand identity, representation, and consumer psychology as deeply as they understand product. Another compelling rags to riches narrative is that of Shahid Khan, who arrived in the United States from Pakistan with almost no money and washed dishes for $1.20 an hour before eventually buying the struggling auto parts company where he once worked. Through relentless operational improvement, financial discipline, and bold expansion, he turned Flex N Gate into a multi-billion-dollar automotive empire. His later ventures into professional sports ownership highlighted a classic pattern among self-made billionaires. After financial stability is secured, they pursue passion-driven investments that expand influence while diversifying identity. Khan's journey embodies immigrant grit, strategic persistence, and the belief that opportunity is not found, it is engineered. Financial celebrity also emerges in fields where the odds seem nearly impossible to overcome. Consider Tyler Perry, who endured homelessness and years of failure as he tried to bring his plays to life. At one point, only a handful of people attended his shows, yet he kept refining his work, reinvesting every scarce dollar into his productions, and eventually built a media empire that rivaled Hollywood studios. By owning his intellectual property, controlling production, and refusing to rely on traditional gatekeepers, Perry demonstrated the financial power of autonomy. His story teaches one of the most universal principles of wealth creation. Ownership transforms labor into leverage. Jay-Z's journey from growing up in the Marcy projects of Brooklyn to becoming a billionaire entrepreneur showcases the evolution from artist to investor to cultural architect. His ascent did not rely solely on artistic talent, but on financial literacy, brand building, and a strategic understanding that culture drives commerce. Jay-Z invested in real estate, tech startups, luxury brands, sports management, and entertainment rights long before it became fashionable for celebrities to diversify. His path reflects the mindset shift from earning money to multiplying it, from being paid to being partnered, from consumption to equity. These stories, though vastly different in industry and background, share a unifying thread. Each individual developed a wealth mindset before achieving wealth itself. They viewed adversity as preparation, not punishment. They learned to negotiate not from strength but from necessity. They cultivated resilience not as a trait but as a habit. They embraced long-term thinking long before they had long-term resources. They practiced ownership mentality while still struggling to make ends meet. This psychological reorientation often precedes material success because wealth at the celebrity scale emerges from identity as much as from opportunity. Another essential insight from rags to riches stories is that transformation is rarely linear. Most of these individuals endured cycles of failure, reinvention, stagnation, and breakthrough. They built skills long before they built wealth. They faced skepticism long before they earned admiration. And crucially, at every stage, they bet on themselves before anyone else did. These stories challenge the misconception that financial success results solely from luck or genius. What they reveal instead is a pattern: persistence, reinvestment, narrative control, emotional resilience, and strategic risk-taking combine into a formula the world often mistakes for magic. Ultimately, rags to riches financial celebrities inspire not because of the wealth they accumulated, but because they expose the deeper story of human possibility. They remind us that circumstance can shape a person, but it does not have to define them. That vision can outgrow environment, that hardship can become heritage, and that financial success, at its most meaningful, is not merely the accumulation of money, but the expansion of agency, influence, and self-authorship. And through their journeys from scarcity to security, from obscurity to global recognition, they remind the world that even in the harshest conditions, it is possible to begin again, to reinvent, and to rise, step by unlikely step, from rags to ngui ke chuyen taichin da noi. Riches, not because fate intervened, but because identity, discipline, and long-term belief compounded in silence long before the world took notice. In the second phase of this narrative, the lens widens beyond individual triumphs to explore the deeper psychological engines, societal dynamics, and strategic choices that allow certain people to transcend generational disadvantage while others remain trapped within it. These stories of financial ascendancy are often told as miracles, But when examined closely, they reveal patterns, repeatable mindsets, replicable frameworks, and invisible habits that shape the trajectory from obscurity to global celebrity. If Part 1 celebrated the individuals, Part 2 illuminates the architecture behind their transformation. At the foundation of every rags to riches journey lies a psychological inflection point, a moment when the individual decides that their current circumstances are unacceptable, that the script they were handed is not the script they will live. This moment rarely appears dramatic from the outside, but internally, it marks a radical break from resignation. For Oprah, it was the realization that her voice, once weaponized against her, could become her greatest instrument. For Jay-Z, it was the recognition that storytelling was not confined to music, but could be leveraged into fashion, sports, and business. For Schultz, it was the conviction that dignity in labor was not negotiable. These moments matter because they shift identity. The person ceases to be defined by scarcity and begins to be defined by possibility. Wealth begins in the mind long before it manifests in a bank account. Another universal element is the ability to reinterpret adversity. While most people experience hardship as discouragement, financial celebrities often reinterpret hardship as training. Childhood instability becomes emotional intelligence. Rejection becomes resilience. Financial scarcity becomes resourcefulness. Immigrant struggle becomes strategic perspective. These reinterpretations are not automatic. They are constructed deliberately. Coombe did not simply escape poverty. He alchemized the memory of surveillance and fear into a company built on encryption and trust. Rowling did not simply endure depression. She transformed it into narrative depth that resonated with millions. The ability to reframe suffering into advantage is not just inspirational, it is strategic psychology. A third force that propels underdogs into financial celebrity is self-education that compounds over time. Formal schooling plays a role, but many rags-to-riches figures attribute their ascent to obsessive, self-directed learning. They study markets, psychology, storytelling, entrepreneurship, or technical skills long before they have any professional platform. They adopt the habit of learning as a survival mechanism, then transform it into a competitive advantage. Tyler Perry consumed books on production and business. Rihanna absorbed culture, branding, and customer insight at a level far deeper than the typical artist. Jay-Z mastered negotiation, intellectual property, and deal-making by observing, experimenting, and adjusting. Wealth grows from knowledge, but first, it grows from curiosity. Yet financial ascent is not powered by mindset alone, it is shaped by strategic selection of opportunity. The world's most iconic rags-to-riches stories reveal an often overlooked truth. They did not choose random industries. They chose industries undergoing transition, where barriers to entry were loosening and new consumer behaviors were emerging. This pattern repeats across decades. Oprah rose at a moment when television was expanding its appetite for authentic voices. Schultz capitalized on the rising experiential economy. Rihanna identified the cultural pivot toward inclusivity. Perry leveraged the rise of niche media. Coombe anticipated the global shift toward mobile communication. These individuals succeeded not because they were first, but because they saw what others dismissed as insignificant. They possessed an instinct for timing the sense that the world was about to shift and that they could shape that shift. Behind every financial celebrity lies another hidden engine: radical ownership. Nearly all the individuals in Part 1 transitioned from labor to ownership as early as possible. Oprah secured rights to her show. Jay-Z acquired his masters, built labels, and bought stakes in companies. Perry owns Tyler Perry Studios, outright rare in Hollywood. Rihanna did not simply endorse Fenty. She co-created and co-owned it. Ownership allows leverage. It converts effort into equity. It transforms work from finite hours to infinite upside. The difference between a talented person and a wealthy one often comes down to this shift: choosing to own instead of merely participate. Another essential component is narrative control, a trait nearly every financial celebrity exhibits. They understand that public perception is a form of currency. Oprah built a brand around empathy, integrity, and empowerment. Jay-Z crafted the narrative of the sophisticated businessman artist. Rihanna projected authenticity and inclusivity. Rowling built mystique through storytelling. Schultz embodied mission-driven capitalism. Narrative shapes opportunity because people invest in stories before they invest in numbers. Financial celebrities manage their narrative with the same precision they manage their portfolios, knowing that reputation multiplies opportunities the way capital multiplies returns. But there is a deeper, often uncomfortable truth behind these transformations. Financial success requires shedding identities that no longer serve survival. Many rags-to-riches figures had to break social norms, challenge family expectations, or abandon limiting beliefs ingrained by their environment. They stepped out of cultural narratives about staying in your lane, not dreaming too big, or knowing your place. Internal negotiation, the process of discarding inherited scripts, is one of the most difficult steps in their transformation. Without this psychological shedding, opportunity remains invisible. At higher levels of wealth, these individuals face a new challenge, transitioning from survival mode to strategic mode. Early in their journeys, decisions are dominated by scarcity. Take the job, take the deal, take the chance. But as success accumulates, the mindset must shift towards scalability, diversification, and long-term positioning. Many celebrities fail at this stage, losing fortunes through poor management, impulsive investments, or misaligned partnerships. Those who succeed, like Rihanna, Jay-Z, or Tyler Perry, do so because they reskill themselves, surround themselves with advisors, and adopt frameworks used by experienced financial strategists. They evolve from individual earners into institutions. Another advanced pattern emerges, using influence as leverage. Once financial celebrities gain cultural power, they deploy it strategically. Influence helps secure better deals, better partnerships, better equity stakes. Influence shortens negotiation cycles, opens doors to industries that are otherwise difficult to enter, and amplifies the visibility of new ventures. Influence becomes a non-monetary asset with monetary consequences. Oprah's endorsement can make a product explode. Rihanna's aesthetic sets trends. Jay-Z's association legitimizes new ventures. Influence, when directed purposefully, becomes a form of capital more scalable than money itself. Yet even at the height of financial success, the rags-to-riches journey is not complete without purpose redefinition. Once financial security is achieved, many of these individuals grapple with existential questions. What now? What matters? What legacy should I build? These questions lead some toward philanthropy, others toward mentorship, others toward disruptive innovation. Wealth becomes a medium for meaning. The journey evolves from survival to self-expression, from ambition to impact. True richness emerges not only from accumulating wealth, but from choosing how to deploy it. In the end, the stories of financial celebrities who rose from rags to riches illuminate more than personal triumph. They illuminate universal principles about human potential. They reveal that background influences but does not dictate destiny, that vision magnifies when paired with discipline, that ownership transforms effort into wealth, that narrative amplifies opportunity. That adaptability outperforms raw talent, and that meaning, when pursued deliberately, turns financial success into something more enduring. These individuals did not merely escape poverty, they reauthored their lives, converting disadvantage into a platform, struggle into strategy, and self-belief into a force powerful enough to reorder the trajectory of their future. Completed.